I traded my 20s for a paycheck. I did everything I was supposed to do. I went to school, I got the job, I showed up on time, and I worked hard, as you do. I learned some valuable skills being a handyman, which has been useful in some instances. I don't own a house yet. I have no passive income, not that that's a requirement, but I don't have any. My retirement account is definitely not retiring anybody, least of all me. I live a pretty typical life. And the hardest part to admit is this. I didn't waste my 20s because I was lazy. I wasted them because I was obedient. I followed the script, and the script was written for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Now before I jump into that, let's go back in time. It's 2015, I'm in my early 20s, and I have this idea. I want to start a gaming YouTube channel. Nothing crazy. I'm excited about it. I've got concepts, and I've got the energy, I've got the drive. But my parents' viewpoint? That's not a real job. That's not a career. You need something stable, something practical. And I listened because they are right to a point. I tucked it away and just did the practical thing, which was to attend college. At the same time, I'm in this weird place with school. I ended up going to school in 2015, but I was uncertain about what I wanted to study. Along with that, I didn't want to go to school and waste all of this money. I ended up dropping out, then later I went back, but on my own terms, and I felt like it was no longer checking off a box in life, but growing and gaining valuable skills and knowledge. It wasn't to make my parents happy. It was to learn how to run a business, to be more resourceful, to build a solid foundation that could set me up for future ideas. I'm a little too ambitious, so I have far too many ideas running through my head. I've spent over 7 years working as a handyman. I respect the heck out of people who do it because I know it can be an absolute pain in the rear sometimes. But I knew I had more to offer. I felt like I was leaving potential on the table every single day. It felt like there was a version of myself that I haven't met yet, and every year that goes by, that person gets a little further away. And here's the thing nobody told me, and it's the thing I wish somebody had said to my face when I was 22 years old. Working hard is not the same thing as moving forward. You can work your absolute tail off for 10 years and end up in the same exact spot, and in some instances, worse, because now you're older, you're more tired, and the gap between where you are and where you wanted to be has only gotten wider. That's what happened to me. The reality is that having a steady job is the only way you can really achieve other things, unless you have a massive savings account, which none of us do. If you love what you do and it pays the bills and you feel fulfilled, I'm genuinely happy for you. But if you wake up at 6 a.m. already counting down to 5 p.m., if Sunday night hits and you feel that pit in your stomach because Monday's coming, then we need to talk. Because that was me for the past 10 plus years. Now to clarify, I'm not here to tell you that working hard is a scam. Working hard is how you build anything worth having. What I'm saying is that working hard at the wrong thing will bury you. And most of us are working hard at the wrong thing because that's what we were told to do. The traditional path in life has always been to go to school, get a job, work a 9 to 5 the rest of your life, and retire around age 65. It's always been about trading valuable time for a paycheck. And at one point in history, that trade actually made sense. In 1990, you could buy a house on below average income. 4 years of salary would get you a home. Today, depending on where you live, it's 6, 7, or even 8 years worth of income. And that's if you're making decent money. Wages have barely moved in real terms, but the cost of everything else, housing, education, healthcare, all of it has gone up dramatically. The script worked for our parents' generation. They handed it to us and said, follow this. And we did. But the game changed. The rules changed. But nobody sent us the memo. And here's what really gets me. The 40-hour workweek was designed in the industrial era. It was literally built for factories, for a time when work actually meant standing at an assembly line and going home when the whistle blew. Retirement at 65 was designed assuming you would live to about 75 to 80 years old. You'd work for 40 years and enjoy maybe 10 to 20 years of freedom, and that was the deal. We're still running that same operating system in a completely different century with completely different economics. And we're wondering why it doesn't work. Now, could I have found a better trade? Absolutely. I could have climbed some corporate ladder, but the underlying problem doesn't change. You're still trading time for money. You're still building someone else's dream. And the moment you stop trading, the money stops coming. I'm 33 years old, trying to start a family, hoping to build a meaningful business that can retire me in the next 7 years, and it's a lot. And very recently, I had to sit down and be honest with myself. I traded my 20s for a paycheck and got nothing back. No assets, no freedom, no margin, just a decade of showing up, doing the work, and ending every month with just enough, or not quite enough, to keep going. That's a hard thing to say out loud. It feels like failure. And for a long time, I didn't want to admit it, because admitting it means admitting I made the wrong choice. It means looking at 10 years of my life and saying, that didn't work. That didn't get me where I wanted to go. And it's easier to just keep going. It's so much easier to tell yourself it will pay off eventually, or I just need to work a little harder, or once I get that promotion, things will change. But eventually doesn't come unless you change something. I could complain all day long about how I feel like my parents held me back. And look, there's some truth here. They discouraged me from pursuing things I was actually excited about. They pushed me towards stability instead of purpose, and I carried that for a long time. But at some point, you have to own it. You have to say, okay, that happened. That was their fear, their worldview, and their limitation, not mine. I'm the one who has to live with the choices from here on out, not them. Instead of complaining about how the past didn't go the way I wanted it to, I want to build something more meaningful that can help me to achieve my goals. That's the pivot. That's where the blame ends and the ownership begins. I had to ask myself the difficult questions. Do I want to stay in the same loop my parents and grandparents were in? Am I okay living paycheck to paycheck the rest of my life? And is there anything else I can do to change where I'm going? The long story short is, I made a choice, and I want to tell you what I'm doing differently because it's the only thing that's ever felt real to me. Starting over at 30 is definitely not a montage. It's not an Instagram quote with the sunset in the background. It's not quitting your job on a Tuesday and magically having a 6-figure business by Friday. If only, that'd be freaking amazing. The internet has lied to us about what that actually looks like. What it actually looks like is waking up every single day knowing that you're behind and working anyway. It's looking at your bank account and not loving what you see and still putting in the hours. It's having people in your life who don't get it, who think you're having a midlife crisis or going through a phase, and having to be okay with that. For me, starting over again in my 30s looks like this. I found that I could combine my passions of gaming and business and helping others into a channel where I get to do all three of those things. This feels more real and exciting than most other things ever have. And it's not because I'm making money from it yet. It's because for the first time in my adult life, I'm building something that is actually mine. I own this. And I want to be honest about the grind because nobody shows that part. I spend at least 2 hours every single day trying to make it work. Some days it's 4 hours. Some days I'm up late editing while all of you nerds are asleep. Just kidding, you're not nerds. Please subscribe. Anyways, thank you. High five. And I'm not saying this to impress you because there's literally nothing impressive about what I'm doing at all. I'm saying it because the work is the whole thing. There's literally no shortcut or secret. There's just showing up day after day and putting in the effort while nobody's watching. The hard work isn't building someone else's empire. It's building my own. Now, what does starting over actually require? First, I'm admitting I don't have it figured out. I didn't start my YouTube channel knowing exactly how to get millions of views and thousands of subscribers in the first month. I'd like to say I'm doing a good job, but the reality is, 3 months from now, I'm probably going to cringe at my previous content. But just like anything else, it's going to take practice. So please be patient with me in my awkward YouTube phase. Thank you. Please subscribe again. You're welcome. Second, I'm building this in public. This channel's proof of my dedication. Every video I put out is me essentially saying, I'm still here, I'm still working, and I haven't quit. And if you're watching this, neither have you. Third, I'm surrounding myself with people who want more, not people who want me to settle. And here's the thing about waiting for the perfect moment. It literally doesn't exist. You don't wake up one day and suddenly have permission to chase what you want. You have to take it. You have to realize that the cost of doing nothing is actually costing you more than you think. You are losing valuable time, energy, and practice that will make you 10 times better in just 1 month. The longer you wait, the further your dream gets pushed out. The point is, I'm not waiting until I've made it to start living differently. I'm starting now with what I have from exactly where I am. We shouldn't expect the whole journey to be comfortable, especially when starting out. So here's where we land. You can't get your 20s back. I can't. Nobody can. I can't go back to 2015 and tell myself to start the YouTube channel anyway, to ignore the doubt, to trust my instincts, to bet on myself. That time is gone, and that decade is spent. But you can stop trading your 30s for the same empty promise. That's the difference between regret and a comeback. And that's a choice you get to start making right now. If you're in a similar place, if you feel like you've been running on the treadmill for years and have nothing to show for it, here's what I want you to do. Grab a notepad, open up your notes app, use a napkin, I don't care. Pick something. Write down the things you're passionate about, that you're skilled in, or things you can do really fast. Not the things that sound impressive, not the things your parents would approve of. Write down those things that make you lose track of time. And then do some research. Determine if it's possible to make a living around those ideas. Because in most cases, it is. It just requires a strategy and a willingness to be bad at the thing before you're good at it. You also need to stop saying, I can't do this. Instead, you need to say, how can I do this? This shift in your mindset is going to open up a world of possibilities for the things that you can accomplish. This is a growth mindset. It's not a guarantee for success, but it is a guarantee for growth and progression. I traded my 20s for a paycheck and got nothing back, but I'm not trading my 30s, and neither should you. Whether you're starting a new YouTube channel, writing a novel, or trying to become the smartest person on earth, you have the power to make any of it happen right now. Your dedication to the hobby, to the profession, or whatever it may be, is going to be the thing that helps push you through all of the road bumps, get you over the hurdles to the finish line. I really appreciate you watching this and showing my channel some love. Without you, my channel would be nothing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.